Hello. If this is your first time seeing me in a while, or for the first time, my name is Zakir. I am a brand strategist and a women's empowerment and mindset coach. So today is talking about how do strong people push through. There's so many strong people in this world. What I've observed, one being one of them, and two, just knowing that my purpose is to surround myself with them and help them to overcome their obstacles, is that there's the one I consistently struggle with, and that's asking for help. So today we're going to talk about the nitty gritty, and I think this would be an eye-opening video for you if you um, have those strong people in your life that you forget to. So you see me looking two ways. I still have a two device setup over here. So, all right. So how do strong people push through? So 9 out of 10 times, what happens is there's a specific type of trauma that I'm gonna specifically talk about women because I am a woman and that's my specific experience. But there's a specific type of trauma. There's a moment that always happens between the ages of 7 to 15, where um, there's this split decision that's being made where they decide I'm gonna have to do this for myself, by myself, and I'm not asking anybody for help. Now, the bad part about that is that we hold on to that mentality for decades, and then by the time there comes the time for us to actually have that blessing in disguise of a person who literally is gonna help you with no bars held, it tends to kind of feel like something tricking you, right? So what happens is it's a lot of personal development work. That's what has to happen along the way. So many people are not yet, at least for the minority culture, are not yet ready for the conversation that is mental health, are still not fully ready for the conversation that is therapy, are still not ready for the conversation that is like a group therapy, right? So what happens is we will, buy all the books, listen to the podcast, um, write in all the journals, go live on social media. Some people will literally use social media, not necessarily for good, but for like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, which is nothing wrong with that. However, what I've observed over the last 3 years, if you want to wrap it all up, is that we have to learn how to first effectively listen to ourselves, and then we're able to effectively communicate what we need, right? So, for example, the strong people will often kind of ask for help um, about the things that they're not good at. But what happens is then we start to trust other people who won't also be honest with themselves and say, I can't help you in that way, but how else can I help you? Right? So then instead of communicating that way and having just a back and forth dialogue about it, it then becomes just, forget about it. Forget about you. I don't want any of that. Right? Does any of this sound familiar? So instead, what I've been learning, what this is all my personal experience, right? My trauma is different from your trauma. My upbringing is different from your upbringing. What I've have experienced and witnessed is that it's really just a matter of as hard as a look at it will be, taking a look at yourself first and just see what was missing. Not what was wrong, but what was missing, right? What is that love language? What is that one thing that would define yourself as, this is who I am. This is how I kind of wound up acting or reacting in traumatic situations, and then taking that and communicating that, right? So it's very hard right now for a lot of people to be vulnerable, me included. I would admit that. I think I'm just now coming out with being vulnerable again on social media and in my email list. But it's as long as you're doing the work internally, eventually sharing is going to be healing. You'll see it that way. You'll hear it that way. And the way you communicate is going to be effective. I think I'm bringing this up because I'm a writer, right? I wrote a book with my mom called Seeing Life Through a Different Lens, a cancer survivor's memoir on overcoming adversity with resilience, but also because I was a journal writer before that. um, I'm remembering that my mom told me that the teacher said that I would not talk to people when I was like 5 years old. I just wouldn't talk. And nothing was wrong. I just didn't want to talk to people because of the same thing. I didn't think I would be seen. I didn't think I would be heard. I didn't think I would be valued. So it's a matter of finding that outlet that works for you. And I mean, an actual outlet, because if you don't have an outlet, you will have a breakdown. And I say that with the utmost confidence because it has happened to me. And I share this with you so that it doesn't happen to you. So, one is a matter of trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, and actually asking for help, right? So asking for help is really the hard part. That's the hardest part because you have this kind of like already understanding of, oh, that person doesn't really care, or oh, that person is not going to help me in a way that I needed to, right? But in order for you to actually thrive and no longer survive or hang on by a shoestring, or even that, you really should start acting for help. But it's just a matter of also being patient with yourself, be patient with others, because only you were given the vision for knowing what it is that you need to be able to do more than just push through, but thrive. Thrive in your purpose, which is going back to the ages 7 to 15, that one thing that you knew that if you had no bills or responsibilities or no trauma, that was you. That was you at your happiest. So remember who you are at your happiest too. All right. So I think that pretty much sums it up. Strong people struggle to ask for help, but in order for strong people to feel safe and seen and heard when it comes to asking for help, is a matter of listening. And I mean authentically listening. Because once again, we tend to just look at previous experience from either that same person or a person that's similar to them and just say, oh, they got it. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Genuinely, let's try. I think my last like request for you is let's try to genuinely ask people how they're doing. Genuinely ask people how they're doing and genuinely offer help. Not with strings attached, not with, okay, I'm gonna ask how can they help me, with the kind of bubble in your head of like, um, then I'll ask them how I can help them, only seeing how they can help me. Let's try not to do that. Let's try to cut that out, because that's why there's so much manipulation in this world, in the business. I've been an entrepreneur, creative entrepreneur, technically for 20 years, but professionally for the last 11, and I've seen it all. And so for me, what I'm challenging myself now, it's not just kind of sit back and just watch because I happening, but literally just saying, you got to stop, you got to cut it out, like now. Okay, I see it happen. And this is why there's so many entrepreneurs, there's so many stereotypes for entrepreneurs, there's so many stereotypes for accessibility and disability in the whole bit. So that was my tidbit for today. Now, if you are still listening to this video and you're like, I need more, I need more, like you hit the nail on the head, then reach out to me. I am in training, and I feel like I have maybe 4 more months as of this video officially before I'm like candidated and certified. But I am literally in training to be the life coach that I know I've always been, which has been incorporated in my work as a photographer, which has been incorporated as my work as a brand strategist, which has been incorporated as my work as a podcaster. So if this is a conversation you're willing to have, and I mean really take a deep look at yourself, reach out to me. You can currently visit the Calendly for my media group, focus with a PH, because it started out with the play in the word photography. And let's take a look at where your mind is first. When we take a look at where your mind is first, that'll let me know how ready you are to even fully walk into your purpose. And I'll know exactly what your purpose is because of the way that you share it with me in our consultation. All right. So visit calendly.com/focus media group with the PH. To listen to more podcast episodes, visit See Life Different with Zakia. My first name, that's ZaaKirah. You can filter that to, on the podcast, we talk definitely about mindset, definitely about, how do you really overcome adversity? How do you really ask for help and not kind of have that negative time frame of like, nobody gonna give it to me. You got to ask for it, but you got to know how to ask for it because you got to know exactly what it is that you want and you need first. All right. I'm here to support you. I'm here to support my goal, 200 women. And really help them. And it just warmed my heart when I start to see them on social media living their purpose, meaning they're doing what they're supposed to be doing here, and they're not just kind of lost in the matrix. I want to help you kind of find your way back on the path. All right. So thank you for watching, and be sure to share this video. Save this video if you need that information, a reminder.